The Democrats are not letting a crisis go to waste. Biden's energy secretary now using Russia's invasion of Ukraine to push their green agenda.
We heard President Zelensky. We do not want to see any country that is held hostage to Vladimir Putin. And this is a moment for Congress to be able to act. There can be a compromise. There can be movement on this. This is a moment to have this happen. It's an urgent moment.
And while Americans feel the pain in their pockets every time they go to fill up their tanks, the media is thrilled the president gave them someone else to blame.
Can we have an honest conversation about gas prices? Because too much of the U.S. media chatter is distorted to the point of being dishonest.
Higher gas prices is a small sacrifice to make compared to what the brave Ukrainians are going through.
Many politicians act as though it's President Biden who caused inflation and that he can fix this. No, I mean, he did not cause the war which caused prices to surge.
And you heard the President of the United States going to say Putin's price hike.
And Putin's price hike is a great way to message it.
You know what? If ever there were a question as to whether or not the mainstream media is the trumpet for the left and for the Biden administration, I mean, you just saw it. I mean, everything that Biden says, they say. The reason gas prices are going up is because of Ukraine. It's all about the war. But Americans aren't that stupid, Greg, are they? I mean, they put gas in their tanks. They know what they paid before the war.
They're trying to ban domestic drilling as they say it's a Putin price hike. That's like kicking somebody in the head and then blaming it on the donkey down the road. No, the price hike is a consequence of Biden inflation. And how do you know that? Because oil isn't the only thing going up. Baby food, bacon, furniture, bedding, watches, jewelry, that's all going up. If it was just gas, then you could say, okay, maybe this, that, the other. No, it's all of these things. But the weirdest contradiction is that the Dems are blaming Putin for the gas inflation, but they already wanted it to go up. Shouldn't they be thanking him for helping to reduce our carbon emissions? Because after all, it was Russia who infiltrated the green groups to get us off our domestic oil and buy their foreign oil. It was the radical green agenda that ended up working for Putin. They were Putin's puppet the whole time. All those celebrities that were telling us how bad fracking was and how bad the pipelines were, they were being funded by Russia. It's amazing.
Well, Jesse, if they were being funded by Russia, has anybody given thought to the fact that this war, if you want to talk about carbon emissions, I mean, talk about the bombs, the buildings. I mean, how about the nuclear site? I mean,
that's
there's
like something John Kerry would say.
Yeah, real carbon emissions, real problems going on from the war.
Right.
Maybe we should have gotten in earlier and ended it.
That's a good point. You know what? Stop global warming, stop the war. Thank you, Secretary Kerry. I filled up my tank this morning in New Jersey. Well, I didn't do it. The guy did it because you're not allowed to do it there. And I have a big tank, Judge, so it took a while.
What do you have, an Escalade?
Yes.
Yep.
Guy comes out and...
You have an Escalade?
Don't laugh, Geraldo.
I have one.
Because then we know what you have.
The man of the people has an Escalade.
This is a guy who has a Bentley.
You have a Bentley. You've never even pumped your own gas, Geraldo. So the guy comes out. I says, Aziz, because it says Aziz on his thing. I point to the price. I said, how'd you guys set that today? It's at 4:30 this morning. And he says, well, I get a phone call every morning, and they say what the price is supposed to be.
Interesting.
And I'm like, does Rex Tillerson call you? I'm thinking this big, oil baron, as Geraldo would say. He says, no, my uncle calls me, and he tells me. Right. And I go, oh, your uncle owns the shop. I said, well, how does your uncle know the price every day? And he goes, well, the oil price, it's about 50%. The other 50%, my uncle tells me. I said, get your uncle on the phone. He picks up this phone, he calls, and the uncle gets on the phone. I said, how'd you set the price? And he says, who is this? I said, Jesse, never mind. And he goes, we almost went out of business the last 2 years.
Right.
He said the price of oil was really low. No one was driving because of COVID. He goes, we almost went bankrupt. He goes, I almost had to sell the business. And I said, well, okay, now that things are back, how do you set the price? He goes, well, I don't even know what the price is going to be. I don't know if Russia's winning. I don't know if Russia's losing. I don't know if COVID's coming back. So we keep it here. And I go, all right. Well, and he goes, I don't even want it too high. He goes, if it gets too high, then no one comes in and fills up their tank. He goes, I want it lower. Yeah. But he goes, I have to make a living. And I go, and now I have to go make a living. I got to go back to New York. But it's not a conspiracy, Geraldo.
The price is set by the neighbor, though. He looks over there, and the guy's got 430. So what's he going to do?
429.
All right, 429. He's going to put 428. I mean, that's the American way. I think competition will set the price. But
That's not what you said yesterday, Bucko.
Let me say one thing about let Bucko say one thing about Jennifer Granholm and the whole green energy business. I wish they would just shut up. They are right about the future and green energy and electric vehicles and all that. They're right about that. Just shut up. Let the world evolve into the brave new situation. But the more you stick it, especially now when people are really hurting at the pump and elsewhere, and there's a war raging, the more you stick it to them, green energy, the less relevant you seem to me. It's the way to marginalize your movement is to talk about it at exactly the wrong moment.
And not only that, Dagan, you've got to transition. What should we do? Just shut down everything that's a combustible engine or fracking or oil or gas and just go right to green energy? How do we do that? They don't have a plan.
No, they don't have a plan. And to put an exclamation point on the moronicy of their green agenda, it's called global warming, as in the globe and the world. So they want us to not drill, not explore, not produce oil and natural gas, but they're overseas begging Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and even Iran to keep pumping. Oh, baby, pump some more. But that has no net effect on global warming, because a derrick over there is the same as a derrick here, except our production is actually much more energy efficient and
cleaner,
cleaner for the environment. So that's the idiocy of that policy. But Geraldo, when I said something about you on the air this morning, and I'll say it to your face. When you talked
Did you hurt
about
my feelings?
Well, when you talked about gouging the fat cat oil barons, I said, wake Rip Van Winkle up. It's not 1910. It's the 21st century.
I stand by my position.
Listen to me.
Record profits over the last 7 years.
To Jesse's point, the 5%.
I'm not talking about Jesse's people.
No, I'm saying that the service stations, the big oils, they don't own the service stations. That 5%, less than 5% are owned by big oil companies. The vast majority are owned by Mama and Dad and Aziz's uncle.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
so if you have a problem, if you actually filled up your Bentley and didn't use mustache wax and like glitter and bacon grease to fuel it potentially, then you would know. If you got out of your car and went in and did what Jesse did and been a man of the people and talked to the folks, you would know that they're hesitant to lower the price faster than they are, because what happened today? Oil prices spiked, and so they don't want to get stuck.
Yeah, it's wait and see.
Yeah, we got to go.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.